Hi everyone, how are you today? Well, it's still winter here in Saskatchewan, although they say it's spring, but we have snow on the ground. But we are now at the end of March and it's time to start our petunia seeds. Now last year I started my petunia seeds probably late February, March, too soon. We had a late spring, we had a lot of rain, and we had ups and downs in our temperatures. So this year I've decided to wait till the end of March and start them. Now my color scheme this year is purple and pink for my front garden. And every year I change my scheme. So today we're gonna start with starting the Easy Wave Pink Passion Petunia. There's 50 seeds in here. Then we're gonna do the FotoFinish Blue Petunia. Never tried the FotoFinish before, 50 seeds again. And then any leftover spots in the tray, I'm gonna put some Dusty Miller in there. So I'm using the Jiffy seed starting mix here, and I've already mixed it all up. I did forget to put my perlite in this mix here. So oops on me. And I did use boiling water to treat my soil before doing this to prevent any gnat outbreaks, especially when you're doing this in the home. It's a pain in the butt when you have to battle gnats. So I try to prevent it as much as I can. This is the first seed tray we're gonna start. And I'm just gonna put a label in for what we're doing, which is the Easy Wave Pink. And I went to Vessie's, which is what I tend to go to most of the time. And I've already made my labels just for the sake of time. I'm gonna put it in here at the beginning. Now, last time I got these, they were coated seeds. They're coated with clay and they were colored. And you seed them right on top. And I'm not gonna put any vermiculite or anything on these. Petunias are pretty tough once they get going. The big thing is to get them going. So they come in these tiny little vials. You can see here, that's 50 seed in there. And I mean, they are tiny. So I'm gonna do my best to not double up on these in here so we have a nice spread and that we can fill this tray up, and they are beautiful. And I'll post some pictures of the island ones I did last year. I think they were Island Paradise Petunias, mixed colors in pretty much pastels with a bit of purple, and they were gorgeous. Now last year I planted a lot of petunias. This year I'm cutting back to about 100. I think last year I did 500, and boy, oh boy, did that keep me busy trying to get them all in the ground. But they made a really nice border. So we're just gonna dump these into here. Aren't they cute little vials? It's amazing how they do this. And you can see them all here. And then we're just gonna start laying them out in the tray. I'm just gonna zero in a bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm basically just gonna pick up one with my finger and drop it in. And try not to drop it at the edge of the tray. That was a bad move there. Bad drop. I'm just gonna push that over to the center. Now, the big thing with these is don't touch them too much because they are super duper fragile. I think I'm not gonna do it that way. I'll just pick it up between my two fingers and drop them in. I've tried tweezers on these. I press too hard on the tweezers. If I can pick them up with my fingers, so much easier. I'm really looking forward to gardening this season, and you know, I feel that way. I get the spring itch every single year, but this year seems to be different for me because we're going to do some changes to the front garden because we have to take some trees out, and I feel like that's an opportunity to put some really nice beds in that are curved right in the front, because I always had I always had a bed right along the border of the front, but it was very, very narrow. But you know, it did the trick. It gave me some color, but this year I want to make it bigger, wider, and higher. And that one kind of flew over there. So a few changes happening this year with the garden. And I think as gardeners, we're never satisfied with our garden and how it looks. We always can find ways that we feel it would improve it or make more pleasing to our eyes. And so this year is that year to work more on the front garden. And of course, there's going to be projects in the back too. So if you join me for those videos, it should be exciting. There's going to be a lot of color and a lot of work because there are a bunch of trees that have to come down that are causing issues, which means a revamp in the garden. So I'll just finish these up and then we'll go on to the FotoFinish blue. It's really helpful that these are yellow because it makes it easier to put them in. And I use mostly Jiffy seed trays, but I will use anything I find that looks like it's decent quality and reasonably priced. When you garden, there's a limit for how much you want to put into stuff, and you want to reuse as much as you can. Oops, there's two in your garden. There, we'll just get that one over a bit. So that is the key. All right, these are just about all in. This is a 72 cell tray, so 50 seeds. So then we'll be starting the other ones and carrying that forward. Okay, that is it. Dish is empty. So I'm not going to start any more in this cell, and I'm going to go directly to this one and start. So there'll be a few bare areas in there, but because petunias spread out so much when they grow, like when you grow petunias from seed yourself, what happens is they seem like they're not doing anything. They aren't growing, they aren't producing, and then all of a sudden, one day you look at them and they're just full of seedlings that are really nicely proportioned and very nice and green. So don't give up on your petunias if they don't do anything immediately when you plant them, because that is just the way they grow. I'll just push this back and we're going to open the next vial, which is the FotoFinish blue. The reason I'm not doing so many seeds this year, you'll notice there hasn't been so many seed videos, is because I'm doing more direct sow. I want to do more direct sow and more perennials this year. That's kind of my goal. And then just use the annuals as accents in the garden for bangs of color, because like petunias in the garden provide such a big, bold, colorful look. And I think pairing petunias, particularly pinks and blues with silver, is beautiful. The other thing I want to do in the garden is probably put some ferns in. I haven't done a lot of ferns in this garden, but I need to plant them strategically because of the wind we have. So that's kind of why I've stayed away from ferns so much, is because we get so much darn wind here on the prairies. For those of you that haven't visited my channel before, welcome to the channel. I am Jacqueline. I am in Zone 3, Saskatchewan, Canada. I know the new zoning charts are saying that we are a 4, but they haven't updated the charts here in Saskatchewan. So I do push my zone by buying plants that are zone 4. And if there's zone 5, and I just about knocked that over, if there's zone 5, then I must protect them for the winter. All right, so we have a few left here to get in. We're supposed to finally maybe get some warm weather this week. We got snow again and we got rain. So I'm hopeful that we'll get rid of this ice. Things are super icy. I think I screwed that up. Can't see what I did there. So I'm looking forward to the melt, and then things really have to dry up. See if I got 2 in my hand. Yeah, I do. That's the only thing when you do it this way, sometimes you can pick up 2. which means if I get 2 in a cell, I just got to transplant 1 out once they show some significant growth. Like I said, petunias are very forgiving. You know, you can seed, and this is a tip, you can seed petunias direct sow outside and they will do just fine. Your blooms will be a little bit later, but you will have beautiful petunias. And petunias do sell seed as well in an area because they will drop seed. You can collect the seed too, which is another option for cost cutting. And you will have beautiful petunias. Unless they're a real hybrid variety, then they will not be true to the original plant. Okay, I've got 2 seed left here in this cell. I'm just seeing, make sure I didn't miss any, and I'll shove them in here. We're gonna have 1 there, so I'm gonna leave that cell empty. All right, next is Dusty Miller. I've never grown Dusty Miller from seed. Should be pretty easy. We'll see if I need it all or if I'm going to use it all, and we're going to see how tiny these are. I'm just going to rinse out my dish. I've got a little bit of dirt flakes in there from my fingers. Make it easier to see. There's quite a few in there. I might be putting some back. Now these are going to be super interesting to pick up. And I'm just going to seed these right on top too. Sometimes Dusty Miller is very hard to find in the stores for plants. You end up at the greenhouses for it. So starting it from seed, and I'm probably going to end up with extras in these cells because these are super hard to pick up. This is where tweezers do come in handy. Or you can do the toothpick method, which I really don't enjoy doing. There we go. These ones I'm probably going to end up with a couple extra in here because they're so hard to pick up. And I'm just going to fill it to the end of this tray. I don't know if I got one in there, so we'll do it again. Now we're going to mist these in, and then they're ready to go. We put the cover on and they go on the grow rack because petunias, Dusty Miller, should have light to germinate. So fairly easy. And just a light spray, just so they stick to the soil. I went with Pink Wave this year because of my pink theme, and I love wave petunias. Number 1, wave petunias spread really, really well. So, for instance, I also love bubblegum Proven Winners petunias. However, $6 to $8 a plant is expensive as heck. Although 1 plant per pot, depending on the size of your pot, they are beautiful spreaders, so they work really well in the garden. But it's the cost of buying 1 plant at $6 to $7 a plant when you have a large area to fill adds up fast. So when you can do a tray like this of wave petunias for a fraction of the cost, it makes sense to switch to the waves and then use Proven Winner plants if you like them as fillers in the garden. Multiple shades of pink look stunning together. Light pinks, dark pinks, rose pinks, purple pinks, and lavenders are just gorgeous in the garden together. So don't be afraid to mix up your shades. As long as they're in the same color palette, they are going to look really good. And if you're grouping them, even better. They are going to look stunning. All right, those are done. We'll put the lid on that one. And these are ready to go down to the grow racks. Here are the two seeds that I am excited to grow this year. Strawberry blonde marigolds, which are color changing marigolds in yellows, oranges, and apricots. These are a French marigold. They germinate in 55 days. The package says 85% germination rate. Very excited about these. There's yellows in them too. Should be beautiful. I'm thinking more the garden in the back. And then here is one I'm super pumped about. Cotton Candy Mix Cosmos. These come in shades of pinks, yellows, apricota, which is an apricot color, magentas, oranges, you name it, it's in this color pack. I ordered 500 seeds of this for along the border in the back garden, and I cannot wait. So those are the two I'm excited about. Now I'm going to get into some basic information. We'll start with this one again. 55 days to germinate if you start them inside. I am starting them outside. You need to pinch them off. They're prone to damping. So be very aware of that with these. They also need to be pinched back when they're in the garden so that they bush instead of being tall and lanky. Cosmos, always a direct sow for me. I don't start them inside. They need to be cut back a ton, multiple times in the season once they're in growth, because they will bush out and they will give you an abundance of blooms. The more you cut them back, the bushier they are, the more blooms. So keep that in mind. So those are the two new seeds I'm excited about. And one thing I didn't mention is 75 to 90 days for this to germinate for the Cosmos. And that's pretty standard for Cosmos, and 55 for the Marigold. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.